question, and it doesn't seem like a question that's all that controversial in my viewpoint. And that question is, what is the difference between science and magic? We're going to talk about the idea, the subject, if you will, not magic, on today's Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host, I'm Kurt, and today is Friday the 14th of May of 2021. Welcome to Friday. Welcome to that beginning of the weekend that many people celebrate. I know that there are people who work on the weekend, and again, I thank you if you're doing that. Thank you for coming on Rumble, the podcast, and on YouTube, or wherever else you happen to be coming from if you're visiting me today, which it appears that you are, right? Again, the subject today is not magic. And I have a habit periodically, you'll know, of kind of just giving you mostly the whole of my notes, frankly. And the first thing that's in my notes today, it may hit you why it's there, and it may not, and I'll explain, but it is a simple 3-word thing: the magic school bus. Now, I'm going to go ahead and read the rest of the notes too. I may as well go ahead and kind of dispense with that so that you have an idea where I'm coming from. We've had a bunch of supposed scientists pontificating on what the best course of action might be in various cases. I don't need to get into examples. I need not get into examples of what we're talking about here, and I know that I risk certain censure actions if I do so I'm going to make it my business to not censure, banning, similar strikes, actions if I do. So I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to say that there are people who are saying we should act in certain ways based on science and in certain instances. The question you should be asking yourself is, what's the science behind the statements? Now, keep in mind, I know there are people of various kinds who are pontificating on how to deal with various things. I'm talking specifically telling you that there's science backing what they're saying, or that it's a science-related decision that they're making. That's what I'm talking about at this moment in time. If they cannot or will not answer that simple question, you need to ask yourself another question, and that question is, are those people selling magic in the place of science? Einstein said something years ago. Obviously, it would have been years ago because Mr. Einstein is no longer with us, right? Not for a very long time. But he said something years ago. He said, if you can't explain something simply, you probably don't understand it. Now, I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember his exact words, but that's basically what I recall him to have said. If when somebody asks you for an explanation of something, you cannot explain it in an encapsulated way where they can fairly quickly and easily see what it is that you're saying, you probably don't understand it well enough yet. You probably need to do some more work to understand whatever it is that you're seeking to explain. And this applies to any government and scientific related decisions, which, by the way, shouldn't typically be mandates at all that you're going to see coming down the pike. It's pretty simple. It's pretty, right? If people can't explain why things are true, or worse yet, act as if you should be expected to know this is the case, that's much worse to me. That's a problem. That's a problem. And you probably ought to be really questioning whether or not those people are relying on at least outdated science, if not outright plain magic. Science isn't magic. To the uninitiated, if you will, and I use that term advisedly, it's not really a very good term, it may seem as if science is magic, but it's not. Science is science, and it's backed up by facts and observation, empirical studies, and various things that help you to understand what's going on. And if you find that you've got as much argument against what you're saying as for what you're saying, you might want to really think about whether or not that's something you want to push, right? Look, I get that you want people to act in certain ways because you think it's appropriate or proper for them to do so. I get that. I do. But what you need to understand is, particularly when what you do is behave in tyrannical fashions based on what you claim as science for which you do not have backing evidence, people, first of all, look, let's get this clear. Okay, let's put this right out there. If you tell people, I want you to do something, I want you to hop on your left foot everywhere you go from now on, that way your right foot will not be damaged and you'll be able to use it if your left foot gets messed up. Now, first of all, pretty much everybody out there is probably going to laugh at this idea. Ha ha, that's funny, why would I? Right? And is it reasonable for them to do that? You bet it is. Yeah, that's reasonable. Why shouldn't they laugh at a suggestion like that? Why wouldn't you laugh at a suggestion like that? Yet it sounds for all the world, as with certain other things that have been mandated, suggested, or required, like a reasonable thing to say. Look, you need one foot working, at least one foot working. So just hop around on the left foot, and the right foot will be unused, and then maybe periodically take a step or two on it, just so that you keep it working. But that way you've got that right leg working, and when the left leg isn't. Now anybody who knows very much of anything knows about muscle atrophy, right? About the idea of muscles getting weaker if they're not used. Anybody who knows very much about bone density knows that one of the things that can help with bone density, or at least it's assumed that this is so, I don't want to step into the scientific realm too far, is that if you don't bear load on bone, you lose density and your bones become weaker. There's already an issue with osteoporosis and similar, where people essentially get brittle bones as a result of a lack of density in their bones, regardless whether they use those bones or not. As I get older, I have to worry about, am I going to deal with brittle bones? Am I going to do something that's going to damage a bone that wouldn't have done so if I'd have had it happen, at some other time? I know people who have fallen in ways that you'd go, okay, that's no big deal, and broken bones. Yeah, it's true, it's happened for younger people, but as you get older, it's even more common that that's true. Here's what I'm getting to, though. My idea of hopping on your left foot so that you save the right, besides that it has some serious scientific flaws to begin with, is really a sort of questionable thing to expect of people to begin with. And to be honest with you, I'm probably a little bit more in the realm of magic than I am in the realm of science. Could I make scientific or logical statements that sound good, to support the idea of hopping around on your left foot? Yeah, I mean, the breatharians claim that you don't need to eat food because you should get all the nutrients you need out of the air. How's that working out for them? Do they honestly do that? Of course they don't. Could you? No. What would end up happening is you would die ultimately from a lack of nutrition. You were built to consume food. And I'm not going to get into the science. If you want to do that, go right ahead. And if you want to argue with me, go right ahead and do that in the comments, and I'll follow along and see what I can find out that I didn't know before. But I'll pretty much bet you're going to have a hard time arguing scientifically for the idea of not eating any food. I personally question the idea of not eating meat, but I'll tell you this. I know people who are vegetarians, and I happen to be very close to one of them. He's my son because he chooses typically not to eat meat, and I let him. If I found that it caused a problem, I wouldn't allow him to do that. And at some point, we may get to the point where he is eating meat. But the point is, I don't like vegetarianism. But does the science support the idea that typically it's probably an okay thing? Yeah, so long as you're kind of careful in what you do. And I guess that's true for if you eat meat too. So even though I don't like it, I'm not going to try and argue scientifically against it or tell you that you have to have 3 meals in a week that have beef or chicken in them. I'm not doing it, right? And I hope that the scientific community likewise is not doing it. Here's what I'm trying to get at. Science isn't magic. That magic school bus where they do all of these crazy magic things in order to show you things that are going on in the human body or on planet Earth or in the ecosystems of various kinds or whatever they happen to be doing today, right? That's lovely and all, but that whole magic school bus thing is garbage. It's garbage. Does that mean I don't let my kid watch it? No, because he gets certain scientific information out of it that's good, but I'd make sure to tell him, when was the last time you saw Magic School Bus? Oh, never, huh? That's because science isn't magic. It's not magic, people. It's just not. All right, I need to go ahead and wrap this up. This is the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I'm Kurt. Today is Friday the 14th of May of 2021. That means tomorrow will be Saturday the 15th of May of 2021. Thank you for having come on, whether it's on Rumble, on the podcast, or on YouTube, or for that matter anywhere else. The subject of today's Daily Summation has been not magic. Tomorrow we're going to talk about why taxation. That's a question that I want to ask on tomorrow's Daily Summation. I hope that you're doing well today. Hope that you have a good Friday and that the weekend goes equally well for you. I also hope that you're generally doing well, and hopefully we will see you again on tomorrow's Daily Summation. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video is recorded on Friday, May 14th of 2021. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, or maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that. And you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S, .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.